some parents may give their children an internet-connected device to quiet them down, especially when a tantrum becomes too much. But what are the consequences and what lifelong effects could this have on young developing minds? Joining us now is a registered nurse, Holly Swenson. She is also the author of Stop, Drop, Grow, and Glow, a book about forming deeper and more joyful connections between parents and children. Welcome, Holly. Great to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
So I'll start with a report showing about 40% of toddlers have their own tablet by the age of 2. Why is this?
Well, I think we've become almost too relaxed with giving our children devices, and we're starting to see that it's really creating lasting impacts for our young people, specifically when it comes to loneliness. If you're starting your children out young with devices like tablets, small amounts where you're really having the biggest thing that we're starting to really see with our younger generation is that loneliness is really becoming a side effect of some of the screen use that we have been starting our younger generations out with. So, and it's important to point out that loneliness is not just a bad feeling, but it truly is a significant public health issue. So we need to become more mindful, more engaged, and more tuned in to making sure we're having human-to-human connection and not just having these devices raise our children, because they are creating lasting impacts both mentally and physically for our young people.
So you talked about human connections, and when it comes to kids and devices, we as parents might consider them completely, cutting them off completely, maybe until a certain age, but how can this be done responsibly when many parents, such as, we use cell phones, social media, and even have our own addictions to these devices?
Right. It's really about becoming more intentional in your own life. And we know that these devices can be helpful, but we also know they can be harmful. And so especially when you're talking about things like social media, which a lot of our younger kids are, they're not supposed to be on it until at least 13, but many children younger than that, even starting at, the ages of 6 and 7, have access to social media, and it does cause significant damage to kids, including, it can cause physical effects such as sleep disruption, anxiety and depression. They can have exposure to cyberbullying, and so there's a lot of pieces at play. And I think it's time for our older generations, our parents, to really scoop our younger children up and make time. You can have time where you have time with the cell phone or the tablet, but you have intentional time, especially like meal times, no phones, in the bedroom at night, making time where you are connecting and leaving your phone behind, like going to the park and they're just not present. And even you as the adult can leave your phone behind too. I do that with my children, where it's like, hey, we're all taking a screen-free break and we're connecting heart to heart. And it's just important for us to start waking up more to the dangers. Like I said, it's not all bad, but we need to find more balance with our youth, especially.
Speaking about social media, Australia just came out with a report. They said that they are banning users under 16 from using Meta, Instagram, Threads, starting December 10th. What is your take on this?
I think it's excellent, personally. I think we need to have some structure built in to help protect our children, because they are being exposed to so much from a very young age. And we're starting to see that there are some effects that are not helpful or healthy. And, you look at some of the statistics, and 6 in 10 American parents believe children under the age of 13 shouldn't be on social media at all. But you look at like 96% of parents with kids 10 to 18 are reporting their children have access to at least one social media platform. So a lot of parents know that this isn't helping our children. I think it's great that they're taking steps to help create more of a buffer so that children have more time to grow up and have more wisdom before they're engaging with sites like social media.
So now in America, because we don't have this regulation, and a lot of our kids do have connections to and have social media accounts throughout multiple platforms, how can we teach our kids to use these technologies in a healthy way?
Well, I think one of the biggest things you can do is open the door for communication. Really having an open door policy where if your children are having confusion, or if they're seeing stuff online, that they can come to you to, and talk about it, unpack it. Again, I think it's important to have, those tech-free times. I think the other thing you can do that can be helpful with the online world is doing the walkthrough method with your children. So this essentially is practicing online safety with your kids, where parents and children can explore and discuss, different apps they might be using or social media platforms to understand what the child is consuming and encountering. And then the idea behind this, though, is not just to have it be necessarily restrictive or judgmental, but really to open the door for communication. Of course, if there's something that you're seeing or hearing that's concerning, then you put guardrails in place. But really trying to open the door to have better dialogue with your children, because the technology is here to stay. So we need to find balance. We need to have good communication and really just be there for our children and help them navigate.
Holly, can you give an example of what this walkthrough method is?
Well, it could be something, as simple as, asking, hey, what did you do online today? Or, if they're on TikTok, a lot of kids are on TikTok, what did you see? What was your favorite reel? One of the things we've done at our home is Rosebud Thorn, which is something where, you unpack the day. So something that was good, something that was hard, something you're looking forward to. Now, it can be the same with online content where, maybe you ask them, what was one good thing you saw online? What was one thing that wasn't so good? And maybe what was something that, made you feel funny or you have questions about, something of that nature, where you're learning a little bit more about the world they're living in. And then you're opening the door to connect, to foster more open dialogue, more trust. And then also it gives you a little peek inside of, maybe there might be something your children are engaging with that you need to have more awareness of.
Thank you for the advice, Holly Swenson. It's great to have you on.
Thank you so much.